But yeah, I forget the girl's name who does
Quinn.
that. Quinn. Is it?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it
Quinn,
is
because
Quinn.
she's named after the Quinn Decim.
Oh,
So
okay, I get
Quinn
it.
is the first one, Decim is the second, and
Oh. All right, and welcome to another episode of the Emily podcast. My name is Josh. Trying to do a lot of things at once here. Hope you guys are having a great day, great weekend, whenever you're listening to this. Um, Again, still trying to get used to being on this side of the desk instead of that side of the desk. Well, it's going to be this side Rebecca will be on. And as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and bring in my lovely. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and bring in my lovely wife. Gosh, I cannot do things today.
hey guys,
Hey, and there's Rebecca. How you doing?
I'm okay. I mean, not great, but I'm fine. It's been an emotional week this week, so yeah, I've got a headache and I took some Tylenol PM, so hopefully by the end of this, I'm not like nodding off.
Well, if we can get through this without any more technical issues, fingers crossed,
Woohoo!
we'll do good. Now, before we started recording this episode, I was talking with Rebecca yesterday about doing like a subject for our banter instead of just having to be random. So for the banter topic, just a few minutes, we're gonna do like I'll do my worst vacation experience, and the Rebecca will do her most memorable vacation experience. So what I'll do is I'll go first. It wasn't the vacation itself. In Tennessee, we have a watered down version of Disney called Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge, whatever you may want to call it. It's basically tourism, bless you.
Excuse me.
It's basically tourism, shopping, all that fun stuff. Well, the sneaky thing is, and the letdown of it was on the way there, there's a lot of these like roadside attractions and just things that catch your eye. So, for example, this is the billboard, what it looks like when you are going towards a place that you're really excited about, but this catches your eye. Well, it's a dinosaur ride. Love it. And just to preface it, not talking about Universal or Islands of Adventure. That's all great. But just as a point of reference, the billboard is always more interesting than the ride itself. You're like, oh yeah, we gotta go. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. And then you get there, and that's what it is. I remember there was a dinosaur billboard ride attraction. It's like, man, we need to go. So we took off the exit, and there was about line of 20, 30 people, and it was a boat ride. It's like, okay, it's going to be cool. It's going to be great. It's going to be animatronics. This boat ride was the most boring attraction ever. The boat went about 2 miles an hour. I think it stopped. I think there was something in the water that had like a broomstick to had to like shove it to make it go again. The animatronics were just stationary. No pterodactyl like swooped down or anything. It was awful. Rebecca, what was your most memorable experience?
Well, my most memorable vacation when I was younger. I mean, there's been lots of different vacations that have been very memorable, but one that stands out from like family vacations is the one that felt like it was a month long, but was really only like 10 days. And that was the trip that we drove from the Nashville area in Tennessee all the way to Washington, D.C.
Oh, gosh.
And we took every single stop that we possibly could to make when we made our way there. We stopped at like every single battlefield from the Civil War or Revolutionary War era. Either one of those was perfectly fine. And then we also stopped at every president's house that we could. And my dad was the history buff. He loves history. I love history too. I think he was the one who really helped me, like, I don't know, realize that I quite like history because they're just stories. But anyway, we stopped at all of those places, and it was really fun and interesting. And then, of course, we had like the whole vacation in Washington, D.C., where we were going to, the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument and all of those things. So it was a full vacation. By the time that we were like, okay, we left Washington, D.C., we were like, all right, I'm ready to go home. And on the drive home, oh my gosh, we kept stopping on the side of the road. Oh my gosh, look, we're like, that's the exit to go see Harper's Ferry. We were like, well, we have to go then because we we were just watching North and South, which is an old 80s miniseries, like TV miniseries about the Civil War. Great show. You should definitely, if you have the time, you should definitely watch it. Really good. But so we went there, and then it was like, oh, and then we just happened to be super close to Gettysburg. Didn't realize that it was the anniversary of the Gettysburg battle. And so everyone's dressed up in period garb from the Civil War era, and there's like fireworks going off. We couldn't find anywhere to stay. Anyway, it was a lot. It felt like an entire month of being gone from home. We were like, miss our dog. I want to go home. Like, this is all really neat, but it's time.
When the vacation is over, it's over. We've done and seen all the things. Anything else is going to be overkill.
Yep. It was, it was memorable though. I mean, my goodness. I remember that was the first time I fell in love with cherry trees as well. Because in Washington, D.C., there's this row of cherry trees, and it's beautiful. But I think it was a gift from Japan to the U.S., and they planted them there.
Nice. Well, there you have it. If you have any vacations that you remember that are memorable, that are terrible, that are great, let us know in the comments. But we're going to get into our main topic for today, and that is judgment. We all do it. I judge myself. I judge Rebecca. I judge everybody. No, I don't. I probably judge myself more than anything.
I mean, in a way, though, you're right. We judge everyone about everything, or we pass even small judgments. We pass on people. It's kind of an unconscious thing at this point, I think.
I mean, because, well, we compare, and then we make assumptions, and then it's like, okay, well, and then in a way, you are making a judgment. It's like, well, that person probably does this, so they probably do that. I mean, they go hand in hand.
Yep. Unfortunately, it's not, we shouldn't. Mm-hmm. I don't like to use that word should, but
well, I mean, as we learned in, what was it? Pre-engagement counseling, shoulda, woulda, coulda. We could be there all day.
Well, it's, I say a lot. I don't know if it came from that, but you definitely you can should yourself to death.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the what if to death. Oh, gosh.
Same.
That exactly. Gives everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What if this? What if that? What if that? And you're like, stop the madness. Don't do it anymore.
But with the main topic being judgment, we thought it would be appropriate to talk about an anime that we have not seen this is one of the first that I think we didn't start off with it, but it was like in the beginning of the journey.
Yep.
It's kind of misleading, and we'll show you why here in a moment. But we're going to be talking about Death Parade. Ooh. Now, this series came out in 2015. It was produced by Madhouse and licensed, at least for the dub, by Funimation. And now the Funimation has kind of been built into Crunchyroll. It's available on there. But gosh, 2015, we started our anime journey like 20, when was it? 2016?
I mean, it was like right after were we married by the time that we were really interested in anime?
We were. Yeah, we were.
So it must have been 2017 at
Yeah.
some point.
Because I remember I had Funimation. You would come over to the apartment before we were fully moved in, before we were married, and like watch it and whatnot, and then vice versa.
Nice. Do you remember what the first anime that we watched together was?
I know I've written this up a lot. Clan Av was one of the ones that was first attempted. I want to say SAO, Sword Art Online,
Oh,
was the
probably.
first one because
Probably.
Julian and Brandon,
Yeah.
they really hyped it up and
And
yeah,
it's good. It did not
yes,
disappoint
no, did not
after
disappoint at all.
however many seasons there were. Yeah.
Now, for those of you who don't know what Death Parade is, gonna read a little synopsis. So we're not having my glasses on to read. This is why I need the notes in big print. Because I wore the glasses now, you see, they're blue blocker, so kind of do a reflection. So I'm not gonna do that. All right. So I'm not gonna look at you guys for a minute. So the plot of Death Parade: whenever someone dies, they are sent to one of many mysterious bars run by bartenders serving as arbiters inside a tower in the afterlife. There, people who died must compete in death games where their souls are on the line, the results of which reveal what secrets led them to their situation and what their fate will be afterwards. And those who make those decisions are called the arbiters. And we'll get into that in just a few moments. The arbiters are basically those who judge these people who have died that have come to, the coin decum is what the bar, that decum, we'll get to that in a moment, is called. And they do a series of games. Games can range anywhere from air hockey, bowling,
Old Maid.
which is a very, it's a sweet episode. I like that one.
I did too.
But in this world or universe, like, okay, it's alluded to, there is no heaven or hell. This place kind of serves as like purgatory, which is taught in Catholicism, or at least it was very heavily taught. Not sure that it is much anymore. Way back when. But yeah, the Quindecim is purgatory. Heaven is like reincarnation in this world, and then hell is like the void. Reincarnation, at least to me, what I know that it is, you don't. Yes, you die, but you come back in another life with like new memories, or you're starting over, and that cycle just goes and goes and goes until you get it right, and then I guess you just dissipate into nothing, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Don't think of that too much.
Yeah, the void is interesting because I think they even use like the biblical verse that talks about the weeping and gnashing of teeth. Did they say that, or did I just think that?
And they didn't allude to. I don't think they said it in particular. Now
The
the
outer
words,
darkness is what I saw
yes,
that as.
the words heaven and hell are used, but I think only in the first couple of episodes.
Well, and I think
Then,
it's only in an effort to tell people like what their fate is, so like how to
gotcha.
explain it. I think that was the reason.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one. Now, we have a whole host of characters in this series. We mainly focus on two of them, and that is Decim and Chiyuki.
Chiyu.
Chi for short, I think. So Deckham is if you're
They look
watching,
like a happy bunch, by the
yeah.
way.
So
Don't they?
I encourage you to watch the video version of this. This is where you'll get all the visual aids here. But yeah, right now you're looking at a very stoic couple that look really happy to be there. So Deckham is the person in the the bow tie and everything, and then Chi is the one that's wearing like casual clothing. Now, Rebecca, what really kind of like surprised me. I don't think I caught it. Is like Deckham was not who he had appeared to be, and still his identity is still a mystery by the end.
What do you mean by that?
So to get further into this than I wanted to in the beginning,
You brought it up.
I know arbiters are, from what I've read and did research on for this series, arbiters are beings that have not lived. They haven't died. They just always were.
Well, they were created.
Yes,
I assume they use like the puppets
correct. Like the
from,
dummies. Yeah,
yeah, from the void.
correct. But Deckham is they say that dummies can't have human emotions.
Or the arbiters
Or
can't.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, arbiters can have human emotions. But Deckham throughout the series has these emotions.
Well, that's because the girl with the braided hair, don't remember her name,
Nona.
Nona,
Yeah.
Nona gave him human emotions.
Okay.
She
Because
specifically planted them in him because she thought that it would be better. He
okay,
would be a
okay.
better arbiter.
Gotcha. Because what I
But that's
thought,
why she's in so much trouble.
yeah, with Oculus, the older guy. That okay. That makes a lot more sense. I think I missed that because I thought in the flashback in episode 10, it's either 10 or 11, that he like because he wakes up, I thought it was like human, and like wakes up on that little bush
I mean, they might have been human at one time, but
maybe.
I don't know.
So when talking about arbiters, what is an arbiter? Well, simply put, it is a person who settles a dispute and who has ultimate authority. That is what Deckham acts as with all these death games. Now, for the death games, again, as I said, it's a whole host of them. It can be an arcade game, it can be air hockey, it could be Twister, it could be bowling.
But they're all like extreme versions of the
Yes.
games. As you can see by the faces of the people, like those bowling balls are each other's hearts that are linked to the balls. So they can
Yeah.
like feel the warmth and the pulse. Very strange.
That was kind of a sweet episode.
I did like
That
that
one
one.
was one of the happier ones, the bowling one. Now the first one, this series starts out hard. The first game is like darts, and so the couple, that's a little newly married couple, they got in a car crash and they're in the purgatory, the Deckham, and Deckham always asks the same question before he starts anything. Say, okay, do you remember anything before you came here? Most time it's like, well, I know I was going somewhere. Well, you went somewhere, all right. But beyond that, they had no recollection. But as they play these games, certain memories are unlocked. Now, Deckham knows this. He knows all the memories, so he knows kind of how things are going to play out.
Yeah, he gets down. All the arbiters get a download of the memories of the people who are about to come into their space, wherever they are. That's how they know what the memories are.
Right, and I forget the girl's name, but there's somebody like it looks like in the mines, like going through all of these like memories and compiling them to send to the arbiters. But yeah, I forget the girl's name who does
Quinn?
that. Quinn, is it? Yeah, I think it
Quinn,
is
because
Quinn.
she's named after the Quinn Decum.
Oh,
So
okay.
Quinn is the first one, Decum is the second, and
Okay,
Quinn Decum.
that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, getting down to this, it's important to establish what the rules are for others, because the games they create extreme conditions, essentially rigging it in a way to have the true emotions or true character of those who have died come out, and then that way make judgments easier or fairing towards one person rather than the other. So with arbiters, arbiters cannot quit making judgments. Basically, once you're an arbiter, that is what you do. That is you day to day. For that is the reason they exist. 2. Arbiters cannot experience death. For that would be for that would bring them too close to being human. 3. Arbiters cannot feel emotion, for they are merely puppets. There used to be only 3 rules, but there was a 4th one added in the end. And this is, you see this with Oculus, because again, Nona gave, as Rebecca, you said, she gave Dickham these emotions, feeling it would make for better judgments. But Oculus is like, no, that's not how we do things down here.
Yeah, he made an interesting comment at the very end. He was like, Nona, you've been a bad girl. You you've been quite fascinated with life and death. And yeah, that was interesting.
Well, and there's a lot of conversations as far as, what's the meaning of life? There is no meaning to life. We have a job to do. We make judgments. That's all that there is.
Yeah, that one red-haired guy, I forget his name. Ginty?
Ginty.
Ginty, yeah.
But the 4th rule that I was getting to is arbiters may not work hand in hand with life or with humans, for that will ruin them. And I'm not sure about Deckham. I mean, yeah, okay, I'm sure about him, but I mean, I know I'm sure about us. It wrecked us. Episode 12, I think it was the last one.
Yeah, the last one. I mean, it didn't ruin him.
Well, no, it didn't ruin him. It wrecked me.
Oh, emotionally? Yes. My gosh. Well, because he's so, like, stoic, no emotion the whole time. And then all of a sudden you get to finally see Chi's story and get it to play out. And, yeah, he ends up breaking down emotionally, and he's like, oh, this is what pain is like. He was like, I just wanted to get to know you more, and I had to put you under these extreme conditions to understand emotions and who you are. Man, yeah, he like starts crying. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he just holding it all in and just, oh gosh, yeah. We encourage you to watch it if you can already tell.
Well, what's crazy, I mean, we've talked a lot about judgment and death so far, but
Yes.
what's really interesting to me is the jazzy jam that is the beginning
Yes.
or opening song.
So
It's so good.
we'll play a little of that for you here. So you only think this is like, talking about death just because it's so nice and jazzy and all right. So as you can see, very misleading. So the title of that song is called Flyers, and very appropriate for that. So they're, dancing, having a good time. They're doing the can, and they're all having fun. It's like, man, this is going to be a great show. Why is it called Death Parade?
Well, even the idea of like, out, Molly?
Or maybe it's not some more, and it's like, oh, it's not about death. It's like a parade. It's fun.
Right. Well, yeah, it's so strange too that their fates are decided by these games.
Right.
games. It seems so crazy.
Well, perhaps it's because maybe the arbiters know that games often bring out competitive natures in people,
Well, that's
and
true.
then that is, they create these extreme conditions. Um, Even though they know that their life is on the line, that doesn't stop them for, a couple of them being underhanded or, you know,
Well, and they think though that if you're the winner, then you get to keep your life basically. The loser loses their
not
life.
necessarily as we see in the first
Well, that's
episode.
what they
Oh,
understand
okay.
it to be. Not that they don't, because yeah, what Maki, she ends up winning the game, but the guy, whatever his name is, he was the one who was reincarnated, and she
Yes,
went to the
the
void.
void.
Dun dun dun.
Now, what we know the void is essentially, it's like how they describe it is how hell would be to the experience, at least a little bit of it, is you just go down and down. You're stripped away of everything. Your soul goes off into nothingness. And it's just blank. Like there's nothing. Like you are alone. I
Well,
mean,
it's literally the absence of God.
right,
That's
right.
what I understand. The void, or whatever you want to call it, to be the outer darkness.
Well, yeah, and because it's dark, it's the absence of light, and yeah,
Well, truly the absence of God.
yeah,
That is true darkness.
right, right. So, while we're on the topic of, still talking about judgment and everything, there are a couple verses that I want to bring up. And Becca, you'll be happy. One of them is found in the book of Hebrews.
Why would that make me happy?
Because oh no, wait, it's Romans. Never mind.
I mean, I love Hebrews too.
So getting back into the topic of judgment, in relation to the show. So we see this verse in Matthew 7:15, where it says, "Do not judge, or you will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." And it goes on to say, it's not on the screen here, that it goes on to say, why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye when you have a log in your own? When you have a log in your own. Essentially, don't go pointing fingers and judging others when you already have junk that you have to deal with yourself.
Everybody worry about yourself, and we'll all be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
That's where we get the phrase, who are we to judge, or who am I to judge? Because I've done things, Rebecca's done things. We've all done things that we're not proud of. So why? What gives us the right to judge? Because God, He's the ultimate judge. He's the only one who has that ultimate authority. He's the ultimate arbiter, if you will.
Yeah, and that's not to be confused with letting sin go unsaid, because I think we do have a responsibility as Christians, not to judge and condemn someone as good or evil,
Right.
but rather, if there's something that the Bible clearly says is wrong, I do think that it's our job to, in love and in partnership with love, confront that person about it. Or, I don't know. It's such a hard thing because in the end, like, it's their life, it's their decision. They can make whatever decision they want. I don't know. It's just better to say something, I think.
Well, no, I agree with that. You need to confront, not outright condemn, because
Yeah,
that's just
that's
gonna,
different.
turn them all off.
And gossip behind people's backs
Right,
and
right.
say things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So confront, no condemnation. Just want to acknowledge something, and that opens up the room for a conversation, because condemnation is just gonna right out the door.
Well, and you can I found that you know the difference between correction from Holy Spirit
Right.
and condemnation from the devil or yourself, either way, because correction feels good typically. You're
Yes.
like, "Ooh, yeah, I
But
really shouldn't be doing that."
right, the condemnation is very much shamefulness, and
So
you,
shameful, so
yeah,
guilty,
right,
so not that you don't feel guilt with the other,
yeah. But
but it's
this is like
different.
times 10 or something like that.
Yeah, it's usually very heavy, lots of weight. It's a weighty thing. Um, so condemnation, not from God.
Right.
What did I say? What was the other one? Not condemnation, but not confrontation. I literally just said it a minute ago.
So I think
I don't know.
what your
Conviction.
conviction, yeah,
Conviction.
yeah, conviction versus condemnation.
Yeah. And correction. That's what it was.
Yes,
Correction from Holy Spirit. Too many
right.
C words.
The three
Oof,
C's, the three C's.
man.
Um, but getting back to the show, for a moment, there are also many like questions about what is right and what is wrong. Because near the end of the series, there are two other people. They always come in substitute, except for one, the old maid. She comes in instead of one. Um, but in the episode, I think it's 9 or 10. It spans across two, and Deckham says to Chi, "Hey, we have two people come down, or two guests, but these are different." Like, well, how are they different? Well, it turns out both of these people are murderers.
Well, we don't know that at first, though.
Yeah,
We
but
think
near
that
the end, yeah,
there's a murder, that's someone's a murderer. Come to
correct.
find out, both of them are murderers.
Right, which makes the judgment all that much harder,
Yeah.
according to Chi. And I think that's when she has like a breakdown saying, how's this fair? How's this justice? And because you would think, oh, well, two murderers, cancel each other out. Guess you're on your way to the void.
What was the ultimate decision? I must have fallen asleep during that one.
I think I did too.
Oh,
I'm
no.
sorry.
If I had to guess, the kid went to reincarnation, but the old guy
Yeah.
went to the void.
Right. There was like, there was some exception or extreme condition made during that time.
Both were extreme conditions, or at least the reasons why they killed
Right.
somebody.
The reasons, yeah. It was doing the wrong thing for the right reason, trying to get vengeance for another person. But again, as we know, vengeance is the Lord's. Never want to take revenge, because if you take revenge, you gotta dig yourself two graves, one for the person you're after and one for yourself.
Yeah, it's God's very specific about that. Leave room for my judgment. Don't do it all on your own. You're not supposed to. You don't have to take that on. There's a better life.
A better life. And I want to apologize about my voice. I must have been talking a lot today or something. But kind of like, if you hear a little bit of the strain, that's what that is. But trying to drink a lot of water here
From your tiny glass.
from that tiny glass. And
All of our tall glasses must be dirty.
they are in the dishwasher currently. But getting back, continuing on with judgment, where I was talking about with God as the ultimate judge, everybody's going to be judged at one point. In Matthew,
Great white throne judgment.
Great White Throne Judgment, I think
Well,
that's
that's for Christians anyway.
oh, right.
The white throne. Yeah.
But this one, I think this is alluding to it in Matthew 12:36 through 37. It says, I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give an account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. As I've mentioned,
That's
life,
rough.
yeah, life and death is in the tongue. You can either speak uplifting, constructive, or you can speak downward, deconstructive.
Yeah. I mean, it's very sobering, honestly,
Mm.
because I know my words are not great. Yeah, I can be encouraging, and that's me like most of the time. But then there's the sinful Becca that wants to just call out the people who are wrong and call out and get frustrated.
Well, I mean, yeah,
And
because that, like, we think that feels good and we think that's the right
it
response.
does feel good, just saying. Like, is it right?
It,
No, but it
it,
feels
it
good.
reminds me of the first Medea movie I ever saw, and it's where Medea and this girl, I guess, who's got cheated on or something, they go to the other woman's house and they start ripping the clothing, and it's like, what are we doing? What's this accomplishing? It's like, well, nothing. It's like, well, what are we doing? It's like, it makes you feel good, doesn't it? It's like, yeah. Uh, a little aside there. But yeah, or the guys you were saying, yeah, it makes you feel good because you think, oh, it's cleansing, getting my frustrations out,
Yeah.
calling all these people out, naming names. But that's not the right response we need to have as Christians. Again, not perfect. Tell you that right now.
Certainly not perfect, no.
But we need to speak in love. We need to speak in understanding. Not that we just need to be a doormat, but we need to
Right.
carry ourselves with a higher caliber than the rest of the world.
But don't fall into the trap. It's hard not to fall into the trap of then judging yourself,
Right.
you know?
Saying, well, I did this, or why did I do that? And you should have,
But
would have, could have did this. What did I did that? Or
you can
I'm
become
the,
consumed
yeah,
by
you
it.
can. And that just produces anxiety and all this, the other stuff that's just, it's not good for your mental health.
Nope.
The last verse I'll bring up concerning judgment is, where is it?
Is it Hebrews, but it's like a long one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I just split them in two. So it's Hebrews 9:27 through 28. And just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment, so Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly awaiting or waiting for him. In the series, they say, people live to die or they die to live. Something like that.
No, it's more of
No.
like people live, therefore they die, or people have to die because they live.
Right. And
Something like
yeah,
that.
kind of alluding to this, Father. For what they present it as, it's a very humanist response. Like, you live, you die, you get buried, and that's it. That, I mean, if you don't believe in a higher being, what are you living for, really? Are you just living, for yourself, for family? What is at the end of the tunnel for you if you don't have like something intangible, faith or belief to hang on to?
That's hard for me to even imagine, if I'm honest. Really, really hard to imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would I be living for? I would be no one without
Well,
Christ.
yeah, because that's where we find our identity in, and without Christ, I mean, you're right, or we're nameless. We're we don't have an identity.
I would feel so lost.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I already feel lost. And add not having Jesus on my side or not having the faith, like that would be unbearable. I don't know. I have a lot of sympathy in the moment right now for those who don't know Christ.
Right. Right.
Because what do they have to hold on to?
Yeah.
Particularly all the atheists out there who don't believe in anything.
Well, no.
Die.
Again, they don't believe, they don't believe it. They do not believe.
They don't believe in a higher power.
Right. They don't believe in a higher power. Not that they don't believe in anything. So.
Yeah, well, everyone believes in something, yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Kind of getting on that note, there's a couple of quotes from the series that I jotted down.
Yeah,
And
there's some good ones.
I think these are all by Deckham, if I'm not mistaken. One of them is you cannot get a full picture of someone just from memories. Kind of bring that back to like the judgment seat of Christ. God isn't just going to cherry pick, memories, to judge you. He's going to take your whole life, every action, every word.
Well, and he's been with us for our entire lives.
Yeah, he knows.
So it's not just the memories. He is omniscient and omnipresent.
Yeah. So here's a question. Mm-hmm. And I think we've all maybe wrestled with this, or at least I have. If God is omnipotent, he knows past, present, future. If he knows what's going to happen, everything I do, why is it important then for us to ask for forgiveness when we slip up, when we sin, if God knows that we're going to do that anyway?
Because he's far more interested in relationship, not about outcome. That's what I think. Far more interested in building up that relationship with us.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're right, because if we're not adequately coming to him, not that we come to him every time we mess up, we should be coming to him just in relation. Yeah. But if we didn't, then there is no really relationship to be had.
Right. Well, if you think about it, every time I did something wrong to you, Josh, and I didn't say anything, if I didn't come to you, obviously we're human and God is God, but the relationship would start to break down and it wouldn't be as strong.
Right. And then, that judgment would come and it's like, well, why are we at this place? It's like, well, we wouldn't be here if you would communicate, or we wouldn't be here if you or I or that, and it's just pointing the finger each way.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it builds relationship to talk about those things. It's good to have coffee dates with Jesus.
That's right. I think you have a coffee date every Saturday morning, don't you?
Most Saturday mornings, except for recently. Yes, because you sleep until 11 o'clock.
I've been getting better about it. I've been getting up at 10 at least.
Yeah, an hour earlier is better, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. I want to go into the other song that this series uses, because it's a great juxtaposition. It's okay, we have the parade, and now we have death. I mean, it's very, very kind of creepy in that way.
All the mannequins are definitely creepy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you know that they were once human.
Oh yeah. So it definitely sets a somber tone for it. Mm-hmm. Gosh, it's yeah.
It was a heavy show. It's a very heavy show, but good.
Yeah.
You're really interested in the characters of the story and how they're judged, and how are they reincarnated, or are they not, or are they? Yeah, I think one of the more interesting ones was Haruta and the
Yeah.
girl that I can't remember her name.
It's Mayu. So if you're
Mayu.
looking here, we got a picture of them right now. If you're watching the video version of this podcast. So we have Mayu and Harada. Harada is, I guess, the lead singer of a band called Cross Heart Attack. And Mayu's just like obsessed. It's like, oh man, you're Harada, you're him. So I've always wanted to meet you. And
She's not just
she's
a little obsessed.
no,
She's
she's
mega
yes,
obsessed.
not not really even like worried about or cares why she is where she is. And the guy Genton, which is probably the
Genti, yeah.
yeah the no you know what
He's
given
no
person.
nonsense.
Yeah, he just wants to judge, get on with it. So these are the two people who played Twister, and of course Genton creates the extreme conditioner. If you watch the series, you'll see what that is. But yeah, Mai was a very interesting character. She kind of ends up just being like, she sticks around for a few episodes, and I think
Well,
she's kind of
because
like,
Ginty can't.
well, he can't adequately judge her
Right,
yet.
right. Until he gives her a choice
Yes,
saying, okay, here's Harada.
right,
If you can, I can bring his soul back to life,
correct.
but there's this guy here. It's a soul for a soul transfer. Would you make that choice? Would you
Yeah,
choose to bring Harada back,
right.
even though and take away this other guy's life? Is that
Yes.
something that you could do?
Now the
And she
other
made the
guy,
choice to
she
do it.
she did, and yet they both ended. Well, I won't give that away. I don't want to do too many spoilers, but yeah, she ends up doing it, and then if you watch the series, you'll see what the outcome is. Now there's a little bit of an Easter egg of the other guy that they're debating on whether to take his soul. Is if you've seen the other anime, I don't know this. Well, actually, the other anime was made by the same production company.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, that would definitely make sense, though. Then
yeah. So if you watch it, it's later in the series, but it is like, oh, I see what you did there.
only if you've seen it before, though.
Yeah, Rebecca, you don't. Well, okay, I won't tell. I won't go into that because that's another show I want to talk about at a later time.
Death Note.
Yeah, oh man, you gave it
I
away.
did it. I'm sorry.
Give it
You can
away.
take it out if you want.
No, we're already. Well, maybe I can. It doesn't matter. So, Rebecca, what was your favorite thing about this series, aside from the judgment that we talked about and the life and death? What was your favorite part of the series?
I really liked getting to know the characters and getting to know the story and just realizing that you think you know someone when they first show up, but you don't know them. You don't know who they are. Like the guys that you end up finding out that both of them were murderers and you think just one is a murderer. And it's like, wow, that is I did not see that coming, but it's within all of us because they were very unassuming individuals in general. But yeah, it was a good reminder. It was a really good reminder that you can't truly know someone. The only person who really knows the heart, someone's heart, is God. And,
Yeah,
I mean, even what in Samuel is where he says that man looks at the outward appearance and judges based upon that, basically, but God looks at the heart, and God judges your heart, which is in a way what the arbiters are trying to get at.
and the dogs have made their appearance
Yeah.
as per usual.
I liked getting to know the people's stories, and it just really reminded me that you can't really know someone, even, like it says in Samuel, that man judges based upon the outward appearance, but God judges your heart, and he knows your heart. And that's what the arbiters are trying to get at, but they still question their judgments that they make because
Right.
they're not God. And
Exactly.
God doesn't make the wrong judgment
Yeah, well,
ultimately.
even Deckham, he goes to Nona and he questions like, "Well, I don't think we're making the right judgment. This system is flawed. Like we're using these devices to create these extreme
Mm-hmm.
conditions, and
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know,
and he even questions like, what if instead of by creating the extreme conditions, because they have this little like
right?
remote thing that they
Yeah,
use, what if by creating those extreme conditions, instead of showing the darkest parts,
yeah,
they create that environment for the darkness to come out?
right. So it's like they're setting those people up to lose,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, you're setting them up to fail. And how because and the idea is that there's darkness in all of us.
Oh yeah, yeah. No human is pure light.
No, not at all.
Each of us
Not
has
at all.
a light side and a dark side. Kind of like, yin and yang, can't have one without the other. But yeah, yin and yang, can't have one without the other. Such is life. Um, but yeah, as we're wrapping up here, what I really liked about it is just kind of like the questions that were in the show. What is life? What is the meaning? Why do we do these things? Why do we always judge?
It's a lot of deep questions, deep thought that
Yeah,
goes on during the show.
yeah, it's definitely to say that the show is thought provoking is an understatement. I
There's
mean,
another show that we will probably do at some point here soon that's an outrage. At least I was outraged. Platinum End.
oh gosh, yeah, that's a whole nother ball game for a whole nother episode. But yeah, that's what I liked about it. Well, we are wrapping up. That's kind of what we have to say about Death Parade. Again, it is on Crunchyroll. We definitely recommend it. It's only 12 episodes. For those of you that binge, you can probably do it over the weekend.
You really could.
And if you've seen Death Note, what did you think about it? If you haven't seen it, are you interested in watching it? And if you do watch it, tell us your thoughts. Send us an email, comment on our socials.
You mean Death Parade?
Oh, what did I say?
You said Death Note.
Ah, Death Note.
They're very similar.
Yeah, they're similar. Both are great. Death Note is a little bit longer, but yes, Death Parade. Seen it? Not seen it? Comment on our socials. Send us an email. Contact@enly.com. But until next time, keep those halos shiny and stay holy, my friends.
Bye, guys.